Hi everyone, I'm Dan Albers and welcome to Redskin Review. Today's show is being taped on October the 10th, and in this show we're going to talk about the Anderson Redskins' 42-14 loss to Turpin, and also we're going to take a look at this week's game against the Glen Estee Trojans. And joining me is filling in for Greg is going to be John Raymond and also Coach Keesing. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
And let's get started. The game started off obviously on a pretty good note. You guys got the ball, you went down, and you scored a touchdown. But then after that, it kind of went downhill.
It wasn't much good after that. Yeah, it was good. We took the opening drive. You know, they deferred, and we took the drive and overcame a couple negative plays and things, and were able to score and go up 7-0. And they came down and scored in 4 or 5 plays. I mean, we had trouble getting lined up and got outflanked, and they exploited their speed against our lack of athleticism on the edge all night long, for the most part. And then second half, when the game was in hand, they basically just ran their power game stuff to, slow the clock, eat the clock up, and so forth. So they had a nice game plan and thoroughly outplayed us, and we've got to keep getting better.
I think in a game like this, what we kind of talked about it was that both teams almost have to play almost kind of a perfect game, and it seemed like Turpin was pretty close to it. They played pretty well.
Oh, they played real well. I mean, they did what they wanted to do. We didn't do anything, though, to stop them. I mean, we were bad offensively after the first drive. We were awful. We had like 2 3-and-outs, and another one where we maybe got 1 first down, then 1 3-and-out. So our offense didn't help our defense at all because they didn't do anything. Then we had an 8-yard punt. So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of good things that went on, especially in the first half.
That's what you were saying after that first drive. I know sitting in the end zone and just watching us march down the field, everybody kind of felt real good at that point. And then, of course, they came right back down the field as well. But on the second set of downs for us, was there anything that you did in particular differently than that first drive? I mean, was the game plan to kind of run, throw?
Yeah, well, I mean, we were going to run the ball. That's what we're, that's the strength of our team.
Right.
I think they had a nice defensive plan. They just kind of played. They played a lot more 3 deep than when maybe we anticipated. They'd been showing more 2 deep and stuff. So, and it's just like their offense, where they went with their up tempo game. We had seen some of that, but not as much of it on film.
Mm-hmm.
And so we probably hadn't practiced that quite as much. And like I told Dan, their athleticism on the edge with Milliken and Singh and was a mismatch for us. And we missed some tackles. We got outflanked on some things. So we had a lot of work to do this week to get better. And then offensively, we were going to try to run the football, and we got some penalties. I think we had 8 penalties again, and the majority of those are on the offensive side, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot and not executing the way we should. So it's, we thought we'd made some strides after the Loveland game, and I think the game just got out of hand so quickly. Our guys, kind of panicked a little bit, and just didn't play very well.
Yeah, the combo of Kevin and Jared have been so well over the last 2 weeks. Last week it seems like they kind of shut Jared down a little bit. Were they playing something differently against him? Or
Not
was
really.
It just the way the game
they were
flowed?
giving him plenty of cushion and things, and they had Clay Johnson in the middle, and he's a good athlete at free safety and was able to get over a little bit on some things. But they didn't do anything really crazy in the secondary or anything like that. We try to get some of our stuff off our play action game and things like that, and not being able to run the ball real effectively was so inconsistent. We weren't able to do that.
Yeah. Well, and speaking again, I was in the end zone, but the crowd was unbelievable.
It was a great crowd.
And, I know Danny got there like at 4:30 to get set up. I got there at 4 to help set up the parking and everything, anticipating, and it was just, there was lines. It was so cool to see. There was lines out waiting to get in that top gate, and I'm sure the bottom gate was the same way. And there was just so much anticipation, and so much was going on. When the rain started to hit, did that change anything either way? You just stuck to the same?
I don't think it affected us a whole lot. It wasn't a real heavy rain.
Right.
It was a little chilly, but it wasn't a big deal. I don't think that mattered. I mean, I don't have any excuses for our performance, believe me.
I got you.
We've got to get a lot better, and the weather wasn't an issue, and we get beat, we're not going to make excuses, and we're just going to keep trying to get better.
Yeah.
It looked like one of the things that when I was watching them a couple times on the cable here was they did something I haven't seen them do yet. Was looked like they were in the flats. They were lining up and doing like a screen in the flats a lot. I didn't see it as much.
Well, I mean, that's always been part of their package. But the first play they went quads and had 4 guys, and we were misaligned, and so they got a great first play of the game and the tempo and things. And the second play they had a wide out, and our corner didn't even cover him. He didn't even see him. We were screaming at him. He didn't hear us. Fortunately, they didn't see him either. Because he would have been wide open. But they, like I told John, I think the game plan was to up tempo us and exploit us in the flat and exploit their speed on the edge, and they were certainly able to do that.
Now, I was really impressed too. Connor Jensen did a really, really nice job, and I thought he did an effective job for them running the football as well.
Oh, he's a great player. He's a great runner and does a nice job throwing the football as well. He's what makes their team go. He makes good decisions. He's a good leader, and you can just tell watching him. He's got total command of everything that their coaches are trying to get him to do on offense, and he runs hard. He's a strong kid, and that's why he rushes for 100 yards about every game. So he's a great player.
Second half, there wasn't a lot of scoring. You held them to 6 points, and I guess if anything you could take out of this was maybe they only had the 6 points. I don't know. I know it's not a moral victory, but that's
some of that was they changed their philosophy on offense a little bit. I'm not going to give us a whole lot of credit. We played a little better the second half, but they still went on like a 15-play drive to open the half and score. But now we had them in long yardage a couple times and couldn't get off the field. So we were doing a little bit better, but they changed their package a little bit on some of the things they were doing, and I think because that was going to take more time off the clock. And once they had that 3-score lead, they just wanted the clock to run. We felt like after we got the fumble when we were down 2 scores, if we could have went and scored, maybe we would have been down 1 score at the half, and the game still would have been much more manageable as far as us to come back. But when you're down what we were at halftime, 36-14, that's tough to come back from when you're down 3 scores. Being down 1 or 2 scores, you have a chance, but being down 3 is really, really tough.
And those games are always a very emotional game. How are the kids been after that game? Are they?
Oh, they're disappointed. I mean, obviously they lost a big game. I felt like the coaches felt like they were ready. We had a pretty focused week in practice. And I thought we had a good pregame, and they were ready to play. And I think that showed on the first, able to overcome some things and score the first drive. But as soon as things didn't go our way, and we faced that adversity of how fast they were going and how well they were playing on offense, defensively we didn't respond to that very well, and then offensively we didn't play very well either. I mean, our offensive line, we have good size. We have to play better than we did, and we didn't. So I mean, I'm not trying to be negative tonight, but I mean, I'm just being honest. We've got to get better.
It is what it is, right?
Yep, it is.
Talking about the pregame, I know that John Holmes got to come in from Colorado, and I think he spent some time with you guys.
Yeah,
maybe you can just walk us through for 30 seconds about kind of what his day was. I know I talked to him at the very end of the game, and he was disappointed as well, but really enjoyed his time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he's been a great supporter of our program the last couple of years, and basically, we keep the boys after school, have pregame meal, and try to do some. We show them some old game film, or we have a message for that day, whatever we're talking about, overcoming adversity, or never quitting, whatever it is, and find some things on YouTube and watch that with them, and then we kind of go to separate rooms for the offense and defense and stuff before we come down to the locker room. Well, and we have speakers. We had Mr. Broadwater, the principal, spoke, and coaches usually take turns speaking on different topics, and John was there, so he spoke about his time at Anderson and when they won 3 games, and the highlight he said, I think it was when he was in junior high, and how he scored a winning touchdown in a game and things like that, and he was just saying how proud he was of how far the program's come and things like that, and reminding the kids that some of the friends that you make playing high school football will be your friends for life. And he told a story about his mom being ill, and after she passed away, so many of his teammates from high school through Facebook and whatnot, got a hold of him and supported him, and how much he appreciated that, and that you know, his experience in high school football was great for him, and that they should enjoy it and so forth. So he did a real nice job.
Yeah, I think that proved out a little bit too. There was a lot of alumni guys there. Sitting in that end zone. Joby Wetter and Mark and Joe Flading was just a couple that I saw, and they just kept coming in.
Yeah.
Marty Oberts, of course, is there every week, and we saw a bunch of guys that I haven't seen for a while, and it was nice to see that. And again, as we were trying to pack them in, there was a lot of people there.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I remember Jake Andreadis was there.
You're right.
Saw him.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I know John really did appreciate it because he wouldn't shut up. Basically, he kept talking about it, and you know, he really enjoyed his time. And you know, it's funny that he talks about that. And we were bad back then, you know, and he remembers those times. But it's just that just shows you, you know, all the guys and how much that they care about the program at Anderson. That everybody can talk about it, good, bad, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, I think the good news, if there is some good news to come out of it, you had a half a game lead going in, and 3-1 now. We're going to need some help from somebody, and I think Turpin still has Loveland or somebody.
They have Milford this week, then Loveland, then Walnut Hills.
And Walnut, okay.
You know, Milford's struggling and Walnut's struggling. I don't anticipate and them giving him much of a game.
Yeah.
You know, Loveland beat Winton Woods. Winton Woods had some guys hurt and fumbled, had 5 turnovers. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
You know, but Turpin just plays very confident, and they're an explosive offensive team, and they're, you know, a solid defensive team. So they've got a chance to beat anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
We seeing that, I didn't see too many people that got hurt during the game. Was there any injuries that you had?
No, nothing significant. No, we're fine.
And then what about offense, defense, special teams?
Offensive player of the game was Kamel. You know, he had a nice run. Defensive player was Jacob Henderlight, although it could have easily been Josh Carell. He had 20 tackles, but when your safety's making that many tackles, you're not doing anything up front very well.
Right.
And then special teams was Derek Mollenkamp, who's a sophomore. He's on a lot of teams and has done a nice job for us all year.
And have you seen a steady improvement on your special teams?
In certain areas, yeah. I mean, we're just inconsistent kicking the football.
Right.
But, you know, our coverage and some of those things have certainly improved, yeah.
And the JV and the freshmen, how'd they do?
JV won 12-7, and the freshmen got beat bad. I think it was 49-7.
Oh wow,
something like that. So,
do you at all those games? Do you try to yourself go and check and see how they're progressing and all that stuff? Or you just kind of let the coaches take care
the home games. I'll go out and watch them. I don't get a chance to go when they're on the road because we're doing stuff in the weight room and guys are working out and we're taking care of the varsity guys. So, you know, I just get a report on Sundays when we meet and coaches tell me about it and how things went. And you know, it's JV ball especially. They got guys that sometimes have to play out of position because of injuries, or guys that played too many quarters on Friday and try to save some quarters on Saturday and things like that. So basically, just looking who's playing hard and making some plays here and there. And then you know, the freshmen, like I said, I get to watch their game on film afterwards. I get to see it during the week. So.
And is that something that when you do watch those games that you know you have in your head maybe for upcoming, or if you ever get in a situation like, how did you know about your kicker that was a freshman? You know, obviously you needed to replace a kicker. Was it something that was told to you by some other coaches, or how did that all?
Well, we just really we found out it was just in practice.
Oh, really?
We were trying out punters, and he stepped up and did a pretty good job. So Dylan ended up being our punter that way. We knew AJ had kicked a little bit on the freshman team, so. You know, he got thrown into that role too.
Well, let's go ahead and get ready to talk about the Glenessie game, another local, pretty close team, and you know that is obviously with the opportunity to keep you still in the thick of things for the conference. And Glenessie comes in, I believe they won the first one against Amelia, then they lost a bunch, but they were playing some quality opponents. I think they had Mason, Lakota West, and then I think they've won 2 straight here. And just talk a little bit about Glenessie.
Well, I got a new coach. Nick Ayers is their coach, and they're still running a lot of the same things on offense out of their wing tee. They've struggled a little bit with their numbers. They had to cancel their freshman season, and so they moved their freshmen up. You know, the pay to play in West Claremont has really hurt their athletic programs. That's a shame. But they really play hard. They get after you. They had Turpin 0-0 at the half, and then Turpin beat them, I think, 21-0. They beat Milford last week, I believe. So they're definitely, I think, have improved from the beginning of the year. And they got a lot of guys that are playing both ways, which I think wears them down a little bit. But they always play hard against us, and it always seems to be a really good game, and they give us fits. And so we've got to be ready to play for sure. It's last home game, senior night, so we got some important things on the line, and hopefully the kids respond.
You said it earlier with Dan with the wing T. Is there, when you go from one head coach to a new head coach, and maybe still that's what they call it, but are there different pieces of that? Will he bring something new or different to them?
Well, they're in the shotgun a little bit, which when Zach was there, Zach Taylor for years, they dabbled in that some. But there's not a lot that's, in the wing tees, there's just certain schemes that they run with the buck sweep and the belly play to the weak side, things like that. And it's a little different, you can tell, but the same basic foundation of stuff is there.
Do you see Coach going forward with that in the years to come, or did he kind of keep it the same so the kids didn't go through a first-year shock of we're going to do something completely
I'm not
different?
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I know he played in that system, so maybe that's what he's going to stay with, or else.
Sure.
Like you said, sometimes coaches for that first year just kind of, instead of having wholesale changes, kind of stick with what was the kids know and gradually then change it. And then when you have a whole off season,
you can
try to change something up.
Yeah.
I think what's going to really obviously hurt them or continue is like you were saying, to pay to play is just, it's a phenomenal thing. And I know they pay quite a bit of money to play football there, and that's per kid, I believe.
Yeah,
I think it's like $700 or
and per sport.
Sport, yeah.
So
So
you got a multiple sport kid.
and that probably is a good offense for a team when you don't have the numbers. Do you think
It is. When you don't have the numbers and things, it's a ball control offense. There won't be as much passing from them, and they'll run the play clocks down. And if they can keep getting first downs on the ground, they'll be perfectly happy with that. And if they have the ball 30 minutes, I mean, that's if you look at their stats, there's some games where even though they've lost, they've had the ball more because they're doing enough to eat the clock up a little bit and shorten the game.
Yeah. What about their defense? How do they line up?
They'll be basically in a 3-4 look. They'll kick it over a little bit, and then not anything we really haven't seen out of them. It's kind of what they've been the last couple of years. And like I said, they got some kids going both ways, and got some young kids playing, but they play really hard.
I know they got the one. It's Victor Crave, I think, is Toledo's looking at him.
Yeah.
So a D1 opportunity. I know the Burdick boys are there as well.
Yeah.
So got some. At least on the Burdick side, we got some Anderson.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to
influence
care
over
about
way.
that too
No,
much.
they
They're
don't
playing
care
against
about
us.
it. They're good players.
But all right. So keys of the game. What are you thinking? I know
Well,
we say the same thing almost every week.
I think
but
a real important key is we can't let them just control the clock and keep our offense on the sidelines, because a lot of old coaches say the best defense is a good offense, and if they have a good enough offense to control the clock, then that limits our chances to score. And I think that's a big key. I think the kicking game is a big key. We can't get an 8-yard punt.
Yeah.
Field position is very, very important as well. And then I think offensively, when we do get our chances, we have to move the football. We can't go 3 and out and waste our chances.
sounds like weather, it's going to be cooler, but it looks like we're going to be dry, which is good. And obviously, we're at home. That has a little bit of advantage instead of going over to the
Mud Bowl.
To the Mud Bowl, sometimes it gets pretty. Mostly at the end of the season, they've got a lot of playing time on it and so forth. So, but
well, I know that when you're saying about the kicking game, I know that Tyler's boy is one of the his kicker on his team, and from what his dad was telling me, I don't know if his dad's bragging or not, but said he's kicked a couple, decent field goals, and he said when they get in a certain range, they're definitely going to kick the ball, and that's part of their offense too, and it's going to make a difference. And the other thing about we were talking about the Burdick brothers there is his one son, I believe, is a sophomore, I think, and he's leading the conference or close to an interception. So that's pretty neat.
Players.
Yeah, real good players.
Yeah,
so
real good players.
should be a good game.
yeah.
I think so.
So I think I'll talk just for a minute, if it's okay, Dan, on the Alumni Association. And why don't you hand me that? I'm going to kind of throw this up. But if you've been down to the stadium and you've seen on the wall by the weight room a series of these plaques, and what the Alumni Association is doing now is kind of selling these for $60 that you come in, and then these permanently get put up on the wall. It can be from any class, any year. we got head coaches up. We got one for Coach Brown and Coach Stowe and Vince and so forth. So anybody and any of the players, I think we got a few from the 60s, a few from the 70s, and then the kids that are graduating, mostly the last 4 or 5 years, we've been really trying to push this. So I think we got maybe, I don't know, 40 of them up now, something like that. When John Holmes was in, we presented him with a plaque last Friday night. I know he was appreciative of that.
Loved it.
So we're going to continue to pitch that. But if you want to get a hold of somebody on this, if you go to the website, go to AHSFAA, there's an area right there, right, Danny, that you can click on it and you can do it that way, or get a hold of Coach Giesting or myself, and we can help you out. Jeff's got the forms, and actually we just had one. Nate Cosman just filled one out, and I just picked that up from school. So that's kind of what it looks like, and it looks pretty awesome up the wall, but Coach Giesting's goal is to have that whole wall just full of them, and I think that'd be really cool if we do that. And then one last alumni thing, this Friday against Glen Estee, we are having a school alumni party. It's just not for football players, up by the tennis courts under the orange tent, free food and drink. So stop on by from any class. I know we got some guys from the 51 class coming.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping there's some football players in there, because we're going to pitch them pretty hard too, but get them down on the end zone with us and so forth. So it should be a lot of fun this Friday night.
Absolutely.
So
Good, that's great.
And again, we always talk about it each week when we do talk about Alumni Association. It really is starting to become a pretty neat thing. I think a lot of the guys are following it. Jake Andreas was talking about it the other day when I saw him, and again, it's just going to be a process where, as long as the word keeps getting out and everything goes, that I think this will be good. We're going to be working on our second alumni golf outing. That the first year was a lot more successful than I anticipated. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it ended up being. So hopefully we'll make that an annual event, and everybody knows the date, and that'll just keep growing from there.
Sure.
So we're going to go ahead and try to wrap things up here. Just again, you can catch all these games on Anderson Community Television. We want to thank everybody here, Shane, Andy, everybody that's helped, and John, Wally Pip here, who does it all for us. He's usually in the studio, down on the field. He does a lot of things for the football program, and appreciate all his time. And then Denise White does a great job, provided some awesome food this week for me. Very, very happy about that. We definitely needed that.
we worked hard
appreciate
Friday night.
Her, and then of course you got Steve Martin, who comes, and it makes our broadcast so much better when he does the stats for us, and everybody involved. And we really, Tim Huntington, that does the camera, and Greg, spends his Friday night with us. So we appreciate everybody's help on that. And we always enjoy the emails and everybody trying to let us know where you're listening from. And you can listen to us on USBN Sports, and we'll try to reach out to everybody, and appreciate everybody doing that. So, and then again, of course, the football moms. Football moms do a lot for us, and we appreciate all their help. And then, of course, Coach Giesting for his time and efforts coming here on a Wednesday, every Wednesday, and then everything he does for us too. So we appreciate that. So in a nutshell, so hopefully we can pull out a victory and win these last three. And
if we can get this win, we'll get back to 4-4, and we have to go to Whitten Woods, who's really good, and but you always have a chance to win, and we just got to believe in ourselves. But the biggest thing is to try to get back on the right side this week.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. So for Dan Alberts, John Raven, and Jeff Giesting, you've been watching Redskin Review on Anderson Community Television.